Good day, folks. Welcome to Just Omer. And my name is Omer Ahern Jr. And I am the Grafton County Commissioner for District 3, representing the towns. Well, actually, I represent everybody in Grafton County, but I'm elected from the folks in District 3, which encompasses the towns in the southeastern part of Grafton County, which goes up to Canaan and over to Warren, and then over to Canaan, and then down to Bristol, Ashland, Bridgewater, Hebron, also, of course, Plymouth and Holderness, and all the towns in between, Wentworth and Groton and Dorchester, etc. So, as a county commissioner, I serve with two other folks. Serve with Commissioner Wendy Piper, who is the commissioner from District 1, and she represents the towns of Hanover, Lebanon, and Enfield. And we also serve with Commissioner Linda Lauer, who serves the towns in District 2, which are the towns in northern and western Grafton County. And together, by statute, we are responsible for the management and the operations of the Grafton County Nursing Home, which is a 130-bed facility in North Haverhill. We're also responsible for the operation and management of the County Department of Corrections, which includes a House of Correction and the County Jail. County Jail is for people who have been arrested and are not out on bail and are awaiting trial. And the House of Correction is for those folks that have been adjudicated, either pleading or found guilty of an offense, and where their time to be served is less than a year and a day in incarceration. So that's what the County House of Correction is for. And in Grafton County, we're also blessed to have an outstanding farm operation, county farm. And at the county farm in Grafton County, we have an outstanding dairy herd, mostly Holsteins, but we have a few Guernseys and Jerseys in the mix. And we have some very good farmland for growing hay, cow corn, make silage for the cows. We also grow winter squash, lots of potatoes, sweet corn, and then we also have our vegetable fields where we're growing summer squash, zucchini, tomatoes, string beans, beets, carrots, and occasionally rutabagas. And the reason why the county farm is there at Grafton County is because when the counties were first established back in the 1870s, and there are 10 counties in New Hampshire, so there were set up 10 county farms, county homes in each county, and the farms were there to feed the residents in the nursing home and to feed the inmates in the House of Correction. And over the years, most of the other counties have discontinued their farming operations, finding it easier to buy their food and milk and other products, from the open market. And that is one of the concerns that I have as a Grafton County Commissioner. And those concerns I'm going to discuss with you today. This is the program we've all been waiting for since I first started these programs back in January. Here we are on September 1st, 2021, and I'm going to be talking most of my time today about Farm Doc, all capital letters, FARMDOC, which stands for the Grafton County Farm and the Grafton County Department of Corrections. And this is I'm going to talk about the proposal that I presented back in February of this year, about a month after I began my third term of service as a Grafton County Commissioner. And it was approved by all of the county commissioners, and here it is. And here are some of the files that I had used to prepare Farm Doc, as well as a lot of my own recollections and memories from growing up at the Sullivan County home and farm in Unity, New Hampshire, and where back then in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, the County House of Correction and the county nursing home residents were primarily fed from the produce and the dairy products that were produced on the Sullivan County farm. And coming to Grafton County to live here in Plymouth, where I was born, and becoming a county commissioner here, and seeing all the wonderful resources that we have at Grafton County, and seeing, when I'm not a commissioner, the continuous increase in the county taxes, creating more of a burden for you folks, the county taxpayers and the residents of Grafton County, I said, we can do better. Now, what has caused me, and I think the other county commissioners and our new county administrator, Andrew Dorsett, is because of what's been happening for the last 20 months or so in our nation, and the disruptions in the food supplies, and the concern that I have in making sure that we have enough food and milk products to meet the needs of our residents in the nursing home and our residents in the Department of Corrections. So I put together this Farm Doc program. It's a multifaceted program. It is in no way expected or even designed to compete on the open market with any of the local agricultural and farmers, agricultural producers and farmers in Grafton County. But because we have an existing farm on Grafton County where we make our own, raw milk that right now is being sold to Agrimark, and we get a pretty good annual income from that, not enough to offset all of the costs and expenses of running the farm, but it does bring in some significant revenue to help run the county operations. And the county farm also provides an opportunity for the inmates in the House of Correction to work on the farm and to maybe learn a few agricultural ways of doing things. So hopefully when they get back into the community, they might be able to, plant gardens at their homes and provide food for their families, and maybe even get into a little bit of commercial agriculture, maybe even raising beef cows and things like that. So this is kind of what the Farm Doc is about. The purpose of this proposal is multifaceted, and my hope at that time in January when I prepared this was to have it commence immediately. It will be the modern day revival of a critically successful part of county homes and county farms in the history and the caring for others of the great people of the great state of New Hampshire. So the first part of the purpose of Farm Doc is to reduce county spending by purchasing less food from the commercial food outfits. We buy most all of our food right now from Cisco, and right now the Department of Corrections budget for feeding just the inmates on an annual basis, when the census of the House of Correction is where it's usually is, somewhere in the 106 to 140 residents in the Department of Corrections, although it's been down quite a bit due to COVID. But historically, the last 4 or 5 years, 6 years before COVID, the county budget for just feeding the inmates, and that's the meals part of the Department of Corrections budget, is about $200,000. $200,000 a year just to feed the inmates at the House of Correction, plus the some of the vegetables and the winter squash and the sweet corn and the potatoes that are raised on the farm and have been right along. Some of those things are also fed into the County House of Correction as well. So this is again to purchase less food and then fee and other food vendors in New Hampshire and Vermont, and feed the inmates pretty much 98.9% off of the farm. With such things, and we've got the milk already there. We have the raw milk. By getting the proper milk processing equipment, we can make the whole milk. We can make the cream that can go into the inmates' coffee. We may have to buy coffee because I don't think we can grow coffee plants in northwestern New Hampshire. But certainly we can produce honey there, which would be a sugar substitute. We're also talking with the county forester about making, believe it or not, birch sap and making syrup out of the birch sap. We don't have a lot of maple trees such that we could make maple syrup to use to sweeten the foods that are necessary at the House of Correction. But we can also grow our own fruit there, peaches and apples and strawberries and blueberries and cherries. And again, locally produced food doesn't have all of the food additives that may be not as healthy for our folks as the processed food that might be brought in. A second part of the Farm Doc program is to increase farm revenue by producing new sources of income, specifically Christmas trees to grow and sell on the wholesale market. Again, there is no intent with this Farm Doc program to compete with any local Christmas tree growers or Christmas tree sellers. And selling them again on the wholesale market outside of the state of New Hampshire. And we can also use the brush from the Christmas trees to make wreaths to also sell wholesale. There is no intent to compete with our local farmers. The third purpose of Farm Doc is to provide the residents of the Department of Corrections, the inmates, with healthy, locally grown food and learning opportunities in the agricultural industry. For example, growing their own food at their homes for their families, or engaging in small-scale, which could grow into large-scale agricultural enterprises, and jobs in various employment areas, for example, the food service, meat processing facilities, and area farms. And the fourth purpose of Farm Doc is to ultimately to reduce the county tax burden on our Grafton County taxpayers. And I'm a Grafton County taxpayer, so I certainly am going to personally benefit from this, but all of the county taxpayers would benefit from this. And this is one of the essential elements of the Farm Doc program. Now, in order for Farm Doc to be successful, it is going to require the essential department heads and others to make this work. The first part of Farm Doc has already been achieved, and that is getting the approval of a majority of the Board of Commissioners to implement this at the Grafton County Farm. Again, because the county commissioners are responsible for the operations and the maintenance and the overview of the county farm operations. So the county commissioners did approve this plan unanimously back in February of 2021. We also need to have other essential partners advisors and mentors who are, some are at the county complex, such as the farm manager, and he is Glenn Nelson. He's the tip of this farm doc spear. Then we need the superintendent of the Department of Corrections, Tom Elliott, a Marine, and I thank Tom for his service to our great country. And because, he's the person in charge of, day-to-day operations at the House of Correction. Tom, Superintendent Elliott, makes the determinations of which inmates are okay to go out and work on the farm. They've been properly classified as being appropriate to go out onto the farm. And then we also need the input of the nursing home administrator, Craig Labor, with the hope that maybe some of the residents in the nursing home can obtain some vocational rehab by helping to process some of the farm products in terms of canning and in freezing, things like green beans and peaches and strawberries and blueberries for use and consumption during the winter months. And also the residents that I've talked with and the families that I've talked with at the nursing home, residents at the nursing home, enjoy seeing the cows, and they enjoy seeing, the farm stand, which is across the street from the nursing home. They enjoy seeing these agricultural activities going on around them at the nursing home, because many of these folks did grow up at farms themselves, and so it kind of gives them some fond memories to think back on. Of course, we need the cooperation of the maintenance supervisor because of maybe equipment needs and making sure we've got all the electrical needs and space needs and equipment needs, especially when we bring in the dairy processing bulk trailer to process the milk and the milk products that we're going to be taking the raw milk from our cows right there at the county complex and processing it into the pasteurized whole milk and the cream and making butter and yogurt and cheese. We can probably also make ice cream there. And whatever is produced from our farm-made milk products from our cows, the county cows, I want the inmates to be able to enjoy every conceivable product that can come from our own dairy cows. And someday, also, when getting the dried out dairy cows, when they're no longer able to give milk, then to be able to process the dried out dairy cows so that the inmates can be eating the beef off of the Grafton County farm. I know that when I was growing up at the county farm in County Home in Unity, that's all that we ate for beef, was the hamburg and the steak and all the other things from the dried out dairy cows that were processed on the farm in Unity, New Hampshire, and fed to the residents in the nursing home, residents in the Department of Corrections, and those folks, county charges and the county employees that lived on campus, on the complex, and ate their meals on the complex. Also, the county attorney needs to be involved in this, because the county attorney is going to be involved with getting some folks, again, under the law, in accordance with the laws, inmates into the House of Correction, who are sentenced into the House of Correction. Also, Criminal Defense Legal Counsel. Actually, I've had some communications with the head of the Public Defender Office in Grafton County about Farm Doc. She has received a copy of this, I think, 3 months ago. And so the Public Defender's Office is aware of the Farm Doc program. The County Forester, of course, is going to be a very significant resource in putting Farm Doc together in terms of the Christmas tree operation, the birch, and hopefully maple syrup. And he is also talking with us about firewood from our 750-acre woodlot, and of course Periodically, we do timber cuts, but so that is something that's always been done at the farm, periodic 10, 15 years timber cuts. But the other thing that the farm, the county forester has taken an interest in when I suggested it under farm doc is bringing red deer into the county operations. And he said, yeah, we can feed the red deer off of some of the marginal forestry lands, and there are some good opportunities with red deer. And then, of course, the good people at the UNH Cooperative Extension, the vegetable and food safety specialists, the master gardeners, and the coverts cooperators. In fact, I was at a UNH Cooperative Extension Advisory Committee meeting here last night in Plymouth, over at the Pema Youth Center, looking at the community garden that's been put in and is being operated by the Pema Youth Center folks. And the Master Gardener chairman, for lack of a better word right now, for Grafton County, was the presenter about the purposes behind that little community garden and those that got involved with that. So they're interested in doing, the UNH Cooperative Extension folks, Heather Bryant and Mrs. Choate, the food safety expert, are very much interested in giving a lot of input into helping to make Farm Doc an appropriate and viable operation for Grafton County. Some of the initial challenges are we've already got the approval of the county commissioners. We've already had a first meeting of the partners, advisors, and mentors that I discussed in the essential department heads and others. Now we're trying to, working in the process of identifying additional county-owned land, grounds, ag or otherwise, to allow the additional ag needs, including but not limited to grains, that's something else. So grains and grants looks a little bit alike. So grains, hay, wheat, oats, fruit, vegetables, and Christmas trees, and now red deer. Because when I proposed this, I had red deer as a maybe. So red deer is now more than just a maybe. We also need to identify and build as soon as possible a large in-ground root cellar for winter storage of vegetables such as winter squash, potatoes, carrots, and other root crops. And I talked last night a little bit with the head of the Master Gardener program here in Grafton County, and she's very excited about the concept of putting in an underground root cellar at Grafton County, similar to the root cellar that was put in over in Sullivan County in the late 1950s when my dad was the county farm manager at the time, and he supervised and helped to build the root cellar that is over there, and it's still there in Sullivan County, and it's still being used for a variety of ag, vegetable, and fruit purposes over there in Sullivan County. That year-round year-round root cellar, and then also a year-round greenhouse to grow tomatoes, lettuce, and to be heated by wood from off of the county-owned woodlands. We talked a little bit about the dairy components. That's going to be a big part of it, the milk and dairy products. Also, we are already with our chicken and pigs that we have at the farm. The eggs are being fed into the nursing home and into the House of Correction already, have been for years. And the pigs are sold, piglets are sold every spring, and that brings in a little bit of income to the farm as well. The vegetables in the root cellar, other than this year, up until this year, because of the lack of inmate labor, there was not a full planting of the county vegetable fields, but ordinarily the county does produce a variety of vegetables, some of which are being fed into the nursing home and the Department of Corrections, and some are also being sold to the public at the county farm stand, across the road from the nursing home. The vegetable variety and production must be increased to meet the present nursing home needs and the increased use at the Department of Corrections, as well as produce some produce for local food banks. Over the years, I know Grafton County has donated potatoes grown on the farm and winter squash to the New Hampshire Food Bank, which is headquartered down in Manchester, and we hope we will continue to do that. The in-ground root cellar will need to be laid out and built at a location to be determined utilizing historical methods of winter storage of vegetables. And that means no fans, no extra heating, no cooling, just the natural protective temperatures of an in-ground root cellar like they've been doing in New Hampshire and Vermont for the last 400 years, and which is what was being done at the county farm, county home in Unity, New Hampshire for years and years and years. And that, again, that can be for storing vegetables. Winter squash, properly stored. Right now, I've got winter squash that was grown last fall, and it's still sound. Hasn't been gone to waste. It's still available to be used right now. And here we are, the 1st of September, for squash that was probably harvested at the end of September of last year. Again, try to put into place a greenhouse, and we already have an existing farm stand. Now, much of these things are all going to involve some type of financial need. And one of the things that we're looking at, and I'm running out of time, one of the things that we're looking at is the ARPA money, the American Relief Fund money that's coming down from the federal government. So we're looking at ARPA money, but it has to be used for very, I forget the term, but it's infrastructure. That's the word. It has to be used for infrastructure. And I would certainly describe the dairy milk processing trailer as infrastructure, because we're going to use that well into the next 30 or 40 years. And I look at Red Deer, and that being something where we're going to be able to feed the inmates in a less complex way because of all the food safety regulations that are involved with trying to process beef at our nursing home and our county home. So I've run out of time. I want to just let you know that we're still working on this. The final thing with regard to Farm Doc is this is a win-win-win-win-win situation for the residents of the Department of Corrections, the residents of the nursing home, the farm operations, local agriculture, and the taxpayers of Grafton County. And I ended my report, or my proposal, saying, hold on to your hats. So I want to thank the good work, cooperation with the other two county commissioners, Commissioner Piper, who is the chairman of the Board of Commissioners, and Commissioner Linda Lauer. Appreciate the good work of Andrew Dorsett, the new, as of the middle of February, county administrator. I also want to thank Tom Elliott, the superintendent, and willing to work with him. And so there's a lot of good people there at Grafton County, a lot of good people in the nursing home that have, really worked hard and diligently for the residents in the nursing home and the Department of Corrections. They're top notch, and I'm so proud of them, and I thank them for their service. Again, I want to thank PBTV for letting me put on this program. And Andrew must have cut out 15 minutes of my presentation because I'm at the end of my half hour. So thank you very much. God bless America, and God bless the great state of New Hampshire. Live free or die. There are many things that are worse than death. Thank you, and God bless you all.